So I'm here with Marcia Kramer. We've just watched the debate between Andrew Cuomo and Marc Molinaro. So did they meet your expectations?
Well, it's what one editor here called a bucking bronco of a debate. It was the most intense and combative debate that I have ever seen or participated in as a journalist. Now, you asked the question, did they meet my expectations? Well, I had actually expected them to address the issues a little bit more directly, but instead they used each and every question that we asked as an opportunity to go after each other and to attack them. But you have to also ask the question, did each one accomplish what they set out to do? Now let's take Marc Molinaro, the challenger, first. Number one, he's underfunded. He has only $200,000 left in his campaign committee. So it was an opportunity for him to introduce himself to voters all over the state, because this debate was carried on CBS affiliates all over the state. So he was able to tell people that he grew up with a mother who was a single mother at first, and he had to live on food stamps, and that he had to bring himself up by his bootstraps. I think that's a story that people didn't know about him, and they were able to see many for the first time. Now, Andrew Cuomo, on the other hand, came in with an opportunity to try to belittle his opponent, but also dealing with some tough questions, because people are wondering, will he fix the MTA? Does he have the ability to make my subway and train rides better? And they also wanted to know about the corruption scandals that have been sort of hanging around his administration. And he came back from that saying that while people in his administration had done wrong and had been indicted and sent to jail for it, he raised questions about Molinaro having corruption in his own administration in Dutchess County, pointing out that Molinaro's wife got a job with a company that got tens of thousands of dollars in tax breaks and grants from the Dutchess County government. So it was sort of a tit-for-tat situation, each one trying to do what they felt they had to do, and I think that they each did that.
Do you think either one picked up undecided voters?
That's a really tough one. It's hard to know, because New York is a Democratic state. It's a very blue state, and you have to get people who are willing to decide that they're going to vote for a Republican in a very blue state. And Andrew Cuomo did his best to try to convince Democrats who might be leaning away from him that they shouldn't do it, because he tried to pin Mr. Molinaro with the Trump brush at every opportunity. He kept saying he was a Trump mini-me. He kept saying, will you support Trump? Are you sure? And he couldn't get him actually to say that he supports Trump, but he kept tarnishing him, in his mind, tarnishing him with the Trump brush and tying him to it. But what's interesting is that Molinaro came back at him and said, you have your own Trump ties, and pointed out that Trump was at Andrew Cuomo's bachelor party, and that the Trump family had given a lot of money to the Cuomo campaign over the course of years.
What was the moment that surprised you the most in the debate?
The moment that surprised me the most in the debate, that's a really good one. I think the whole debate surprised me, because again, I expected them to be combative, because each one, it was like, Andrew Cuomo didn't really want to debate an opponent. It's the first time he's ever debated an opponent in a general election one-on-one. He's debated multi-candidates, but not one-on-one. And Molinaro had the only one chance to try to, make his case. So what surprised me is that out of the box, it became so incredibly puncher, combative, and that each one was taking as many shots as they could take. And so it was almost as if the questions we asked were not irrelevant, because they were very important, but that they were attempts to turn each question to their own goals, which was, on the one hand, Mr. Molinaro wanting to introduce himself to voters, and the other hand, Mr. Cuomo trying to say, you're no better than Trump, and Trump is not a popular president in the state of New York, and Cuomo is trying to capitalize on that. On the other hand, Mr. Molinaro made the case that he feels that, on the whole, President Trump has increased the economic viability for people with his tax cut plans and other things. So, both controversial positions, but both candidates trying to do what they set out to do, which is to On the one hand, Cuomo preventing Democrats from voting for his opponent. On the other hand, Mr. Molinaro trying to make the case that he's a Republican with sanity and you can vote for him.
Great. Thanks very much, Marcia.